I never thought I'd burn down my own son's world. But when that witch of a daughter-in-law handed me those eviction papers with a smile sharp as a switchblade, I realized mercy was for fools. 3 days. That's all she gave me. 3 goddamn days to pack up 68 years of my life like it was yesterday's trash. And the kicker? My son, Ethan, just stood there in the doorway of our family home in suburban Cleveland, Ohio, hands shoved in his pockets, mumbling something about tough love while she twisted the knife. I laughed right then, a hollow bark that echoed off the walls lined with photos of us all, happier times. Or so I'd thought. Because in that moment, staring at the woman who'd wormed her way into my bloodline like a cancer, I knew this wasn't just about a house. It was about every secret I'd buried for them, every lie I'd swallowed, and the one crime I'd shouldered alone to keep their perfect little facade intact. It started 15 years ago, back when Ethan was still the golden boy of the neighborhood, fresh out of Ohio State with a business degree and dreams bigger than the Rust Belt sky. I'd raised him single-handed after his daddy ran off with some floozy from a mill town downriver, working double shifts at the Ford plant to keep the lights on in this creaky colonial we'd bought for a song in the 80s. Me, Riley Harlan, tough as the Lake Erie winters, with calluses on my hands and a heart stitched together from regrets. Ethan was my everything, the reason I didn't put a bullet in my brain after the divorce papers hit. He married Vanessa 3 years after graduation, in a backyard ceremony under the old oak tree that still stands in the yard. She was all glossy hair and designer knockoffs, a marketing whiz from Akron with a laugh like tinkling glass and eyes that could sell ice to Eskimos. I liked her at first, hell, I footed half the wedding bill from my savings. But cracks showed early. She'd whisper to Ethan about how I clung too tight, how my blue-collar ways embarrassed him at his new job in the city. Still, I bit my tongue. Mothers do that. The real poison seeped in slow, like antifreeze in a radiator. Vanessa got pregnant with their first, little Mia, and suddenly our Sunday dinners turned into interrogations. Riley, why don't you ever talk about Dad? She'd prod, all faux concern, while Ethan nodded like a bobblehead. I dodged it because the truth was a grenade. Ethan's father hadn't just left. He'd OD'd in a motel off I-90, high on the oxy his doctor pushed after a planned injury. I'd covered it up, told the cops it was a heart attack, paid off the coroner with my last dime to fudge the report. Why? Because Ethan was 16, fragile as a cracked eggshell, and I couldn't let him carry that shame. Natural causes, I said at the funeral, burying the pill bottles deep in the backyard soil. It was my sin, my secret, the weight that bent my back crooked over the years. And Vanessa? She sniffed it out like a bloodhound, but instead of empathy, she weaponized it. By the time Mia was 5, Vanessa had maneuvered her way into the deed on the house, Ethan's investment, he called it, co-signing with her daddy's real estate money. I didn't fight it. Family sticks together. Right? Wrong. Turns out, Vanessa had her own skeletons. I'd overheard her on the phone one night, voice low and venomous. Yeah, I handled the books. But if that audit hits, we're screwed. She was cooking the numbers at her firm, siphoning client funds into offshore accounts, petty at first, then bold. Ethan knew. Of course. He always knew. But when the feds started circling, it was me she dragged in as the fall guy. Riley signed off on those transfers. She'd lie to her boss, forging my shaky signature from an old check I'd endorsed for her bridal shower fund. I found out too late, after the subpoena landed in my mailbox like a death warrant. I confronted them in the kitchen. The same one where I'd baked Ethan's birthday cakes from scratch. What the hell is this? I waved the papers, my voice cracking like thunder. Vanessa didn't flinch. She sipped her Chardonnay, legs crossed on my thrift store stool. It's called Consequences. Riley. You co-signed everything, remember?
Lies.
All of it. But Ethan? He averted his eyes, muttering,
Mom.
Just. Let the lawyers handle it. Let the lawyers handle it. As if I hadn't spent my life handling everything for him. The case dragged, months of depositions in a stuffy Cleveland courtroom. Me in my one good pantsuit, facing Vanessa's shark attorney, who painted me as the greedy hag bilking her own kin. I took the plea, community service, probation, a fine that gutted my retirement. But the real cost? The house. To settle the debts, they refinanced. And somehow, poof, my name vanished from the title. For your own good, Ethan said, hugging me like I was the child. That was 8 years ago. I stayed on, a ghost in my own home, cooking meals they barely touched, babysitting Mia and her little brother, Jake, while Vanessa climbed the ladder on my broken back. She thrived, promoted to VP, featured in Crane's Cleveland business as the rising star of Midwest marketing. Ethan? He floated along, managing her scraps at a tech startup, blind to the rot. I'd catch him staring at me sometimes, guilt flickering like a bad bulb. But he'd snuff it out with a beer and a game on TV. Mia adored me, though called me Nana Ree, baked mud pies in the yard with me, asked questions Vanessa shut down. Why'd you go to jail, Nana? I deflect with stories of my plant days. The union strikes. The '79 blizzard that shut down the city. But inside, the rage simmered. A pot left too long on the burner. Then came the ultimatum. Last Tuesday, over pot roast that smelled like regret, Vanessa slid the envelope across the table. Riley, we've decided it's time for you to transition. Like I was some outdated software. Ethan cleared his throat, avoiding the peas I'd mashed by hand. The market's hot,
Mom.
We can get top dollar for the place. Set you up in a nice condo downtown. 3 days. That's what the notice said. Ohio eviction law for family occupants, rushed through some loophole her lawyer daddy exploited. Mia was upstairs, headphones on, oblivious. Jake was at soccer. The rain hammered the roof like accusations. I stared at them, the couple who'd feasted on my loyalty, and felt something snap, not violent, not yet, but final. You think this ends clean? I said, voice steady as the Mississippi. Vanessa smirked. It always does for people like us. People like us. That was the knife twist. I didn't scream. Didn't beg. I just nodded, tucked the papers in my apron, and cleared the plates. Upstairs, in the attic that smelled of dust and forgotten Christmases, I pulled out the box, the one with the pill bottles, the forged coroner's report I'd kept as insurance, the USB drive with screenshots of Vanessa's emails I'd hacked from Ethan's old laptop during one of his benders. Evidence. My ace in the hole. I'd never planned to use it. Love's a blindfold. Thick as fog off the lake.
But now?
Now it was war. Not with fists or fury, but the American way. Slow, legal, and soul-crushing. I'd make them pay, inch by inch, until their empire crumbled like the mills after NAFTA. And the beauty? They'd thank me for it, right up until the fall. That night, as thunder rolled in from the west, I started the calls. First to my old union buddy,
Sal.
now a PI in Parma with a nose for dirt. Dig up everything on Vanessa Harlan financials, affairs, the works. Discreet. He chuckled. That gravelly laugh from picket lines past. For you, half price. But why now? I didn't tell him about the eviction. Some shames you carry solo. Next, the lawyer, a pro bono firebrand from legal aid who'd handled my plea years back, owed me a favor after I testified for her in a whistleblower case. Riley, it's been too long. What's the play? I faxed the deed history, the forged signatures.
Fraud.
And I want the house back. Plus damages. She whistled low.
This could bury them.
You sure? Sure as sin. By dawn, the wheels turned. Sal texted, preliminary hits, Vanessa's firm under SEC scrutiny for irregularities, whispers of an whistleblower. And Ethan? A gambling slip at the Horseshoe Casino. Debts racked up in her name. Leverage. I spent the first of my 3 days packing, not frantically, but methodically. Photo albums to the safe deposit box. Heirlooms to Sal's garage. Mia caught me folding her baby blanket. Nana, where are you going? Her eyes, big as saucers.
Pierce me.
I knelt, smooth her hair. Just a little trip. Sugar. But I'll be back for story time.
Lies.
The kind that tastes like ash. Vanessa hovered in the hall, arms crossed, that smug tilt to her chin. Don't drag the kids into this. Riley. It's unbecoming. Unbecoming. From the woman who'd pinned her crimes on her husband's mother. Day 2 blurred into strategy. The lawyer filed the motion quietly in Cuyahoga County Court for quiet title and fraud rescission. They won't see it coming, she said over burner phone. I nodded to my reflection in the hall mirror, the one with the crack from Ethan's teenage tantrum. Gray roots showing, lines etched deep, but eyes? Steel blue, unyielding. Ethan tried the guilt play at breakfast, pancakes for mix. Not my scratch recipe.
Mom, this is for the best.
Vanessa's stressed with work. Stressed. From laundering money through fake charities while I scrubbed her baseboards. I smiled, patted his hand. I know. Son. Family first. He bought it. Relief washing his face like cheap cologne. That afternoon, I met Sal at a dive bar off Detroit Avenue. Neon buzzing Lucky's, smells of pierogies and regret. He slid a dossier across the scarred oak, Vanessa's affair with her boss. Documented texts, Ethan's poker losses tied to her accounts. Commingled funds. She's dirty as the Cuyahoga. One push. She tips. But revenge isn't a sprint, it's a marathon through moral muck. As I pored over the pages, doubt crept in like damp through the basement walls. Was I the villain here? Destroying my son's marriage? Tainting my grandkids' world? Mia's laughter from the backyard, chasing fireflies early. Summer lingering, twisted the knife. Yet Vanessa's voice echoed. People like us.
Us.
She'd drawn the line. Cast me out like yesterday's news. No turning back. That night, I drafted the letter, not to the cops. Not yet. But to her boss. Routed through a proxy server I'd learned from a library computer class. Your VP's cooking books. Check the Cayman transfers. Whistleblower attached. Proof clipped. Sanitized.
Send.
The hook was set. Day 3 dawned muggy. The kind of Ohio heat that sticks to your soul. Eviction loomed at noon. The sheriff's deputy was polite on the phone.
Mom.
Just protocol. I was ready, suitcases by the door. A rental car idling from Enterprise. But first, the confrontation. I waited till Ethan left for his commute, kissing Vanessa goodbye with that performative peck. She sauntered into the kitchen in yoga pants and a silk robe, pouring her third coffee. Time's up. Riley. Movers are en route. I slid a chair out, sat like I owned the place, which, legally, I soon would.
Seat.
She arched a brow, but complied. Curiosity, her Achilles. I laid it out, the fraud, the forgeries, the affair dossier face-up. Her color drained, latte forgotten. You bitch. Blackmail? I shook my head. Justice. Drop the eviction, or this hits the DA. The Post-Gazette. Her boardroom. She laughed then, manic. Unhinged, lunging for the papers. I was faster, sweeping them into my purse. You think you're tough? You're nothing. A washed-up factory rat clinging to scraps. Words like bullets. But I'd armored up. And you're a thief in Lululemon, stealing lives like loose change. Ethan's debts? Your lover's bonuses? All traceable. She lunged again. Nails raking air. I sidestepped, heart pounding like AV-8. The front door banged. Mia home from school early. Backpack thudding. Mom? Nana? Vanessa froze. Mask slipping back. Go upstairs.
Sweetie.
Nana's leaving. But Mia saw. Eyes darting between us. The chasm widening. That's when the call came. Vanessa cell. Boss's number flashing. She snatched it. Voice syrup. Sir? Yes. Of course.
Pause.
Her face crumpled. Eyes darting to me like daggers. Understood.
Click.
You did this. Accusation hung heavy. I stood, calm as Lake Erie Flat. Self-defense.
Now.
About the house. She crumbled then.
Not with tears.
But calculation. Eyes narrowing. The schemer resurfacing.
Fine.
We'll deed it back. But you tell no one. A deal with the devil. Sealed over cooling coffee. I nodded. But inside, the trap sprung wider. The lawyer had already filed. This was just the appetizer. As the sheriff's car idled outside, unneeded now, I hugged Mia tight, whispering, Nana loves you fierce. Ethan returned that evening to a tense truce, papers unsigned. Me staying on. But the air crackled, unspoken wars brewing. Vanessa's stares burned holes, Ethan's confusion festered. I slept in the guest room that night, the one with the lumpy mattress, dreaming of flames, not literal, but metaphorical, consuming their lies. Weeks blurred into a fragile peace. Vanessa played nice, forced smiles over meatloaf, compliments on my vintage charm. But her eyes? Shark circling. She lawyered up quietly, countersuits brewing. Ethan drifted, burying in work, avoiding the minefield.
Me?
I bided time, feeding the beast. Sal's digs deepened. Vanessa's boss suspended her pending investigation. Ethan's casino markers called in. Collectors hounding. The house deed transfer hit probate, snag-free. My name reinstated. Victory tasted bittersweet, like black coffee after a bender. Then the twist, the one that split my soul down the middle. Mia came to me one rainy Saturday. notebook clutched like a shield. Nana, Mommy says you're bad. But I found this. She handed a crumpled letter, Vanessa's, to her lover. If Riley spills,
We're done.
but she took the fall once. She'll do it again. My stomach dropped. The plea deal years back, Vanessa had bribed the prosecutor, dangling my confession as leverage. I'd been the patsy not just for Ethan, but her escape hatch. Rage boiled. Pure distillate. But Mia's face tear-streaked. Trusting froze me. Are you bad, Nana? I pulled her close.
No.
Sugar. But grown-ups? We're all a little gray. That night, the climax crested. Vanessa cornered me in the basement laundry, hamper lid slamming like a guillotine. You in the house. Happy? Now get out of our lives. Her voice cracked, first real fracture. I faced her, steam from the dryer veiling us like smoke. It's not about the bricks, Vanessa. It's the blood, yours. On my hands. I tossed the letter at her feet. She snatched it. Baling. How? Mia's curious. Kids are. Fury flashed. She swung. A slap that connected. Stinging cheek blooming red. I tasted copper, but didn't retaliate. Instead, hit me again, and the SEC gets the full file. Ethan's debts? Forgiven if you confess. Clean slate for the kids. She staggered back. Schemers mask shattering. You destroy us? For what? A roof. I stepped close. Voice low. For the years I carried your sins. Ethan's dad? I buried that for him. Your fraud? For the family. Confessions spilled then, her tears hot. Accusations flying. Ethan knew. He pushed me into it, said you'd cover. Like always. Betrayal doubled. Knife twisting. My son. Complicit? The room spun. But I held ground. Then he pays too. Sirens wailed distant. Neighbors calling the cops on our shouts.
No.
Just Cleveland's endless ambulances. But the real alarm? Ethan's truck crunching gravel outside. Home early. He burst in. Face ashen. What's happening? Vanessa lunged into his arms. Sobbing the script. Your mother's blackmailing us.
Lies.
But his eyes, guilt confirmed it. He knew. All of it. The room fractured then. Voices overlapping. My accusations. Her deflections. His pleas. Mom. Please, think of the kids. Mia and Jake huddled on the stairs. Shadows witnessing the unravel. I saw it clear. No heroes here.
Me.
The enabler turned avenger. Willing to torch the nest. Vanessa. The survivor clawing upward on backs. Ethan. The coward who'd let rot spread. In the chaos. The decision. Controversial as hell. The kind that'd spark bar fights. I grabbed my purse. The dossier inside. Burn it, I said to no one, handing the USB to Ethan. Or I walk. And the world knows. His hands shook, Vanessa hissed. Do it. He hesitated, seconds stretching eternal, then crushed it under heel. Sparks from the linoleum. Evidence gone. I'm sorry, Mom. Apology hollow. But enough? The cops didn't come. We collapsed into stunned silence. Rain pattering like judgment. Months later, the fallout settled uneasy. Vanessa confessed, partial. Plea bargained. To misdemeanor fraud. Resigned quietly. Started a consulting gig from home. Ethan sold his startup shares to pay debts. Sober now, attending GA meetings I drove him to. The house? Mine again. But emptier. Mia and Jake visit weekends. Supervised. Their mother's glares lingering. I won. Sort of. Security. Vindication. But the twist? In destroying them, I glimpsed my own monstrosity, the willingness to shatter grandkids' world for justice. Readers argue, was I righteous avenger or vengeful hag? Hero or heel? Vanessa's schemes deserved reckoning. But at what cost? Ethan's weakness mirrored my enabling. No one's hands clean. As I sit on the porch now, oak tree whispering secrets, Mia's laughter drifts from the yard. Happy ending?
Nah.
Life's grayer than that. But peace? Hard one. Like everything American. And if they ever cross me again?
Well.
Some secrets stay buried. Others? They rise like the dead. The uneasy truce held for a season, fall leaves turning the yard to fire. Thanksgiving strained but intact. I'd tell myself it was healing, this fragile rebuild in our Cleveland colonial. But lies have a way of festering like untreated wounds. Vanessa kept her distance, holing up in the master suite with her laptop and self-care candles that smelled like burned bridges. Ethan threw himself into overtime at a new gig, some fintech drone job in downtown, coming home late with takeout tie and apologies wrapped in small talk. Kids had a good day. Mom, he'd ask, avoiding my eyes over pad CEW. I'd nod, fork scraping styrofoam, the weight of that crushed USB like lead in my gut. Forgiveness? Not yet. But survival? That's the Midwestern creed. Hunker down. Wait out the storm. Mia sensed the undercurrents, sharp as a switchblade kid. She'd sneak into my room after bedtime, flannel pajamas rumpled, clutching that notebook like a talisman. Nana, tell me about Grandpa again. I'd spin yarns of his heart attack, the fishing trips we never took, omitting the motel despair, the pills that stole him quiet. But her questions dug deeper. Why's Mommy sad all the time? Is it 'cause of you? I'd hug her close, inhaling strawberry shampoo, whispering, grown-up stuff.
Bug.
But love fixes most. Lies again. The kind that erode trust drop by drop. Jake, younger and oblivious, just wanted piggyback rides and my oatmeal cookies, burnt edges and all. They were my anchors. Those grandkids, tethering me to mercy when vengeance whispered sweet. Vanessa's mask slipped in increments. First, the passive-aggressive post-its on the fridge. Riley, low-fat milk only, per dietitian. Then the casual digs at family dinner. Voice honeyed venom. Ethan, remember that condo we looked at for your mom? Still think it'd suit her. Independence. He'd shush her. But the seed planted me, the intruder in my own home. I countered subtle, leaving her forgotten, emails open on the shared desktop. Reminders of Cayman accounts. She'd delete them frantic, but paranoia bloomed. One night, I caught her rifling my purse, hunting for copies of the dossier. No doubt. Our eyes met in the dim hall light. She froze, hand withdrawing like scalded. Just looking for Advil, she muttered. I smiled. Slow. Try the medicine cabinet next time. Or the confessional. The real fracture came mid-December. Snow blanketing the drive like fresh deceit. Ethan's company holiday party. Black tie affair at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. All glass and glamour overlooking the frozen Cuyahoga. He begged me to watch the kids. Vanessa had a migraine. Code for martinis with her ex-boss. The one she'd confessed to in a weak moment. I agreed, baking gingerbread men while Mia decorated with too much icing. But Ethan called halfway through, slurred.
Desperate, Mom.
Trouble. Pick me up? Heart sinking. I bundled the kids into the minivan, Jake snoring in his booster. The hall loomed, lit like a beacon of bad decisions. I spotted him in the shadows by the loading dock, tie askew, lips split, flanked by two suits who looked like repo men. What the hell? Ethan? I hissed. Kids asleep in back. He slumped against the van. Breath, whiskey sour. Lost big at the casino again.
They
Called in markers. Said Vanessa's involved. Of course. Her consulting was a front, laundering through high-roller bets, pulling him back in. The suits loomed. One flashed a badge, not cops, but private muscle for the horseshoe. Mrs. Harlan, your boy's into us for $50K. Wife co-signed. Rage ignited. But I played cool, union negotiator cool. Talk to me. What's the play? They wanted payment plan. Collateral.
The house.
My house. I laughed.
Bitter.
Over my dead body. But Ethan whimpered. Mom. Please. Defeat tasted familiar. We drove home silent. Snow whipping like accusations. Vanessa waited up. Silk robe askew. Eyes red-rimmed, not from migraine, but makeup-streaked fury. What happened? Ethan spilled. Voice cracking, she exploded. You idiot! I told you to stay clean, then to me. This you're doing? Stirring shit. I unloaded then. Dossier remnants I'd held back. Printed emails linking her to the bets. Your mess. Vanessa.
Clean it or I will.
The kids stirred upstairs. Mia's door creaked.
Truce shattered.
She lunged, nails this time, raking my arm bloody.
Get out.
All of you, ruining my life. Ethan pulled her off. Sobbing, I pressed a dish rag to the scratches. Blood spotting gingham. Your life? Built on my back. Cops came. Neighbor heard shouts again.
Noides.
Just warnings. The blue wall of suburbia holding thin. But the damage? Irreversible. Next morning, over black coffee, Ethan confessed full. The fraud inception. His push. Mom'll fix it. Like always. The affair? He'd known. Ignored for peace. Betrayal layered deep. Onion skin thin. I was weak.
Mom.
Scared.
Scared.
Of losing her. The kids. The facade. I forgave.
No.
But pitted, yes. The boy I'd raised into a man too soft for shadows. The revenge escalated. Calculated as a union strike. I called in markers of my own.
Sal.
The PI. Tailed Vanessa to a downtown bar. Clandestine meet with a client. Bag exchanged. Whispers urgent. Cocaine? Kickbacks? Didn't matter. Video timestamped. My lawyer filed civil suit. Not for the house now. But fraud recovery. Naming both. They'll settle, she said. Voice steel. Or bleed dry. Ethan got the summons at work, fainted in the bathroom. HR calling me frantic. I drove him home. Vanessa waiting with suitcases packed. We're done. Riley. You win. But her eyes? Gleam of scheme. Phone buzzing. Daddy's law firm. No doubt. Winter deepened. Holidays hollow. Christmas Eve. Tree half-trimmed. Mia asked for the real story about Grandpa. Heart pounding. I told partial truth. He hurt bad. Sugar. Pills from the doctor. I hid it to protect Daddy. Her face crumpled, understanding dawning too soon. Vanessa overheard from the stairs, face ashen. You poisoned her against me. No, truth did that. New Year's brought the audit. IRS knocking. Vanessa's consulting flagged. She cracked then full meltdown in the living room, hurling ornaments like grenades. It's all your fault. You with your holier-than-thou bullshit. Ethan held her. I stood firm. Own it,
Girl.
or lose everything. The climax brewed slow, tension coiling like a spring in a 72 Impala. February thaw brought leaks, local paper sniffing the suit.
Anonymous tip mine.
Harlan family feud, fraud allegations rock suburban dynasty. Vanessa's phone rang nonstop, job offers dried. Friends ghosted. Ethan quit drinking cold. But depression sank claws, nights staring at the ceiling, muttering debts like prayers.
Me?
I mothered through its soups, talks, but boundaries firm. No more savior. The kid shuttled between us. Mia's drawings darkening, stick figures with storm clouds overhead. Then the hearing, small claims court in a strip mall off I-271, fluorescent hum and folding chairs. Vanessa in pencil skirt, lawyer daddy at her side, spinning tales of misunderstandings. Ethan testified, halting. Eyes on me. Mom's right.
We.
Wronged her. Her face twisted, betrayal fresh. Judge ruled partial. Restitution to me. $20K plus house equity split. Not total ruin, but gut punch. Outside, in the parking lot sleet, Vanessa cornered me. Happy now? Broke us for spite. I met her gaze. Unflinching. For justice. You chose the game. She spat, literal, warm on my cheek. Monster. Maybe. But alive. Spring bloom tentative, tulips pushing through mulch like hope. Ethan moved out temporary. Couch surfing with Sal. Therapy sessions I funded. Vanessa rented a condo in Shaker Heights. Kids splitting time. Custody papers flying. Mia confided. Mommy cries at night. Says, Nana's mean.
Mean.
The word stung. Forcing mirror gaze. My revenge. Surgical but scarring. Had I gone too far? Split the family for a principle? Debates raged internal. Readers pick sides. Her crimes demanded payback. But kids pay forward. Yet the twist lingered. Shadowboxing. 1 April dusk. Ethan knocked, clean-shaven. Eyes clear.
Mom.
Found this in Dad's old stuff. A letter. Yellowed. Not suicide note. But apology to me from the grave. Riley, forgive my weakness. Tell Ethan I loved him. Pills hidden not just shame, but mercy kill his choice. My cover. Secret deeper. Mine alone. I burned it that night. Ashes to wind. No more ghosts. Summer hummed on. Tensions easing to simmer. Vanessa dated, discreet. A banker type. Ethan rebuilt. Side hustle in app development.
Me?
Garden the yard. Oak tree sentinel. Victory Pyrrhic. But mine. Ending? Open. Debatable. Redemption's road long. Fraught. But in America, we drive it anyway.
Windows down.
Radio blasting Springsteen. By July, the house breathed easier, windows open to firefly nights. The creak of floorboards less accusatory.
I dire financed solo.
Low rate from the credit union where I'd banked since Reagan. Turning the attic into a craft room for Mia's art projects. Life normalized. Or its facsimile. barbecues in the yard with just us grandkids. Ethan picking them up Saturdays in his beat-up Civic. No Vanessa's shadow. She'd carved her niche in the condo. Yoga classes, book club with shaker wives. Posting blessed selfies on Instagram that screamed overcompensation. I didn't stalk, Sal did. Gratis. Feeding me updates like contraband smokes. She's clean. Scared straight. Good. Fear's a hell of a teacher. But Ethan? He unraveled thread by thread. Therapy unearthed rot, childhood guilt over his dad. My martyr role fueling his passivity. You carried too much. Mom, he'd say over coffee on the porch. Voice raw. Made me think I could dodge. We'd talk hours. Dissecting the fraud. The eviction like autopsy on a marriage. He filed for divorce, quiet.
No fault.
Assets split fair. Vanessa fought dirty, alimony hiked. Kids' schedules weaponized, but settled when the paper ran a follow-up. Local XX downfall, insider trading ties. My tip. Anonymous. Karmas will turn slow, but merciless. The grandkids adapted, resilient as Lake Erie weeds. Mia, 10 now, started journaling, pages I'd accidentally find. Tales of 2 homes, 2 moms. Nana's house smells like cookies, Mommy's like lavender. Broke my heart, mending it simultaneous. Jake, wild energy bottled. Took to baseball, me in the bleachers. Cheering horse. Ethan coaching from the sidelines. Vanessa showed sporadic. Designer shades hiding puffy eyes. Clapping polite. Our interactions? Civil frost. Past the sunscreen? Here. No warmth. But no war. Progress. Midwestern style. Stoic. Sidelong. Yet undercurrents swirled. Dark as the river after rain. August heat wave baked the city. Tempers fraying. Vanessa called one sweltering afternoon, number blocked. But voicemail pierced. Riley, we need to talk. For the kids. Reluctant. I met her at neutral ground. A Perkins off 77. Pie slices and fluorescent truce. She looked diminished, hair limp. Blouse off rack. Ethan's spiraling. Gambling again.
Lie.
Sal confirmed. Markers resurfacing.
Small stakes.
My blood chilled. Your mess still? She shook head. Eyes pleading, first genuine.
Ours.
I pushed him back in. After the audit. Revenge. I guess. Confession hung. Vulnerable. Hate me.
Fine.
But help him. For Mia. Doubt Ward. Trust her? The schemer who'd flipped faces like cards? But Mia's face flashed, storm cloud drawings fading. What you proposing? Alliance uneasy. Intervention.
Joint therapy.
I agreed.
Wary.
Session started, family counselor in a strip mall office. Beige walls swallowing secrets. Vanessa arrived early. Notes prepared. Ethan fidgeted. Sweat beading.
Me?
Silent sentinel. Calling bluffs. Revelations poured. Her daddy's pressure. Win at all costs, forging her ruthlessness. Ethan's daddy issues mirroring mine. Cycle unbroken. I scapegoated you, she admitted. Voice cracking. Easiest mark. Catharsis? Or ploy? Readers debate. Redemption arc or cunning pivot. Fall crisp leaves. Divorce finalized. Ethan crashing my couch indefinite. Nights. We'd watch old westerns, John Wayne drawling justice, beers in hand. Not bottles. You saved me. Mom, he'd slur once. Maudlin. No, I'd counter. You saved yourself. I just lit the fire. Truth layered. My revenge catalyzed his rock bottom. Force growth. But cost? His pride. Our bond strained anew. Thanksgiving loomed, first without US. I hosted. Table set for 5. Me, Ethan,
Kids.
Vanessa invited neutral. Tension crackled like turkey skin. Mia chattered school plays. Jake demolished pie. Vanessa passed potatoes. Our fingers brushing, electric. Unintended. Thanks, she murmured.
Small thaw.
But post-feast. Kitchen cleanup. Her at sink. Me drying. Riley.
Sorry.
For everything. Eyes met. Her stripped bare, no mask. I nodded. Throat tight. Me too. For the burn. Forgiveness? Partial. Probationary. Winter whispered warnings. Christmas. Mia's gift, a locket with our photos. Her inscription. Family sticks. Even when it hurts. Tears pricked. Vanessa saw.
Softened.
Ethan proposed group AA, her nodding. For the kids. Progress stuttered. Relapses for him. Snide texts from her. But momentum built. Fragile as snowflake. Spring 2026 brought the gut punch twist, the one sparking endless what-ifs. Sal called frantic. Vanessa's sick. Cancer stage 3. Pancreas. Biopsy confirmed. Aggressive. World tilted. Guilt tsunami. Had stress from the fallout accelerated?
My doing?
I visited her condo. Sterile. Scented candles dimmed. She lay pale. For dripping. But smile wry. Karma's a bitch.
Huh.
We talked raw. Regrets. The fraud as symptom of her voids. Daddy's neglect. Climbing ladders greased with lies. I envied you, she whispered. Real grit. Not this fake polish. Vulnerability disarmed. Walls crumbled. Ethan rallied. Nights at hospital. Me babysitting. Mia drew cards. Get well. Mommy.
Love.
Us. United front. Irony bitter. Vanessa fought chemo. Trials but weakened. Drafting will. House to you. Riley. Clean slate. Gesture grand. Controversial. Acceptance meant complicity in her end? Or grace. I signed on as co-guardian. Kids bridge. Summer solstice. She slipped, peaceful. Monitors beeping flat. Funeral pact. Colleagues eulogizing her drive. Us knowing depths. Ethan shattered. I held him. As always. Mia asked. Was mommy bad? Truth nuanced. Complicated.
Bug.
Like all of us. He inherited the condo, sold it. Debts cleared. Therapy deepened. He launched a startup. Anti-gambling app. Dedicating to her. Ending? By tragic. I reclaimed everything. House.
Peace.
Family reforged leaner. But loss hollowed victories. Vanessa's schemes cost her life. My revenge a catalyst debated eternal. Right or wrong? No absolutes, gray as Ohio skies. Readers split. Deserved comeuppance. Or excessive toll.
Me?
I garden on. Oak whispering absolution. Life's not tidy. It's endured. One resilient bloom at a time.